Pre-election matters. As the pre-election campaign activities begin to gather momentum, Obedience have come together to form a group called the Village Boys Movement, which has surfaced online. This appears to be a counter-group for the public attention garnered by the pro-Tinubu City Boys movement. The movement, which has already established its own website, describes itself as a movement created to empower the grassroots, one village at a time. This comes as backlash has trailed the induction of such figures as Obi Iegbu, better known as Obi Cubana, and Cubana chiefly, which has already established a move that made Obedience feel that a movement created to empower the grassroots, one village at a time. This comes as backlash has trailed the induction of such figures as Obi Iegbu, better known as Obi Cubana, and Cubana chief priest into the City Boy movement, a move that made Obedience feel taking sides with the political elite and are abandoning the common man. Well, Village Boys on social media have been posting to announce their presence, and this is what they have to say.
Our eyes don't open. I say, our eyes don't open for Southeast. This time around, the City Boys movement to jump the Homeboys movement. Oh, I knew the Homeboy. That will be the Village Boys. If you do meeting finish for City, if you do meeting finish for City, when I go still come back to Village, come jam us here. That will be the home base.
The village is the home base. They're saying the City Boys will still have to come to the village to campaign. So the Village Boys have all the power. Ayo, what's your take on this Village Boy versus City Boy?
City versus Village Boy. Okay, you know, last week...
Are you City girl, Village girl? I think Ruth already said that he's a Village Boy.
Well, I was born... So let me clarify something. And I want to be objective and fair this morning. Last week I'd said that you may say anything about the APC, but in the way that they have mobilized in recent times, you have to say that there's evidence. Unfortunately, other parties have been belabored with internal wrangling that they don't have time to put together.
They do the APC.
Yeah, they do. That's the reason. PDP is trying to sort out which one is the real one, which is not, which was convention or area or party, like we call it, or the Labour Party is in court. They don't even have time to have a coordinated movement in this way. The Obedient movement, don't forget, to belong to a particular political party. It's a movement led by the young people in Nigeria based on some of the things that they say and in support of one particular candidate in the last election. It has now evolved, and to be fair, they move with candidates wherever he goes. So you can't even call that a particular party's movement. It's an organic movement. City Boy movement have also said that they made a lot of noise. They've gotten very generous donations from state governments, from bosses being donated, high-profile people being announced as the ambassadors of them.
Someone
questionable.
was even saying there was Ministry of Youth logo on their posters.
I mean, we had to question. Now I emphasize some state government which money was used to fund some of these bosses that were given to the City Boy movement. But the City Boy, the name is not because it's for city people. Just to mention that it is that the fact that the moniker is often associated with the president, based on the fact that he's said to be the father of modern Lagos, the architect of the Grand Master Plan, and so on. So hence the City Boy, not just that it's for city boys. But the Village Boys have now come out to say we're the ones in charge. Now the difference is that will they have access to the amount of resource that the City Boy movement has, based on the fact that the APC controls at least 30 states currently in terms of governors in the state. But what we must clearly emphasize is that let state resources not be used for any movement. Let every movement be based on people's personal convictions and personal pockets, including the Village Boy movement. And I must give kudos to the Village Boy movement, promoters, because it is people who are bringing that, and that's how some of grassroots people are bringing their 1 naira here, 50 naira here, 200 naira here. That's what we want to see in the political space in Nigeria: a rich conversation around and differences in parties, that people can have a variety of choices and make decisions based on who best fit their ideology or what they deem as people who can lead them to the promised land in Nigeria. So let all the movements come up. But again, key point is the City Boy movement should not be funded with state resources as meant for everybody. Village Boy movement, the same thing. But everybody has a right to choose, and let us have an elaborate and deep conversation when it comes to the elections in 2027, and may the best man win based on those choices.
The City Boy movement was established in 2022 ahead of the 2023 election to support basically President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and has since then evolved into an organization. It's elite finance, it's elite back, it's elite resource, and it exists in 774 local governments. So what you find, therefore, is that it's the civil society equivalent of the governors of 31 states. It's 31 states that have dissolved into the APC. And then you have in the 774 local governments, the grassroots movement championed by the president on Sheyi Tinubu. So it's a grassroots organization, and they are well organized. The Village Boy movement emerged as those who are opposed to President Bola Tinubu. Their area of operation is largely the internet. Of any financing that you can say is as structured as that of the city movement. They are driven mostly by enthusiasm. It's a volunteer movement, and then it is peopled mostly by the obedient philosophy, if you define it. So, but the INEC, having said, okay, now there is election timetable, there is a schedule of activities, you must always expect that if you have this side, you will always have that side. And I think it's good for democracy that all opinions, all shades of opinions are allowed to play.
Oh, Rufai, please, very quickly. We have an important story that we need to...
You see, there's a lot of delusion in Nigerian politics. And the number one delusion is that people think money is everything. And when people start to espouse this delusion, I look at them and I laugh. Too much delusion. Secondly, there's a lot of delusion plan. The thing they have to tackle, rather than talking about movement or no movement, is the question I asked Senator Ned Damaswe today. We IRF the justiciable. See, if you can't answer that question, we are just deluding ourselves. It's the delusion that will now make it obvious when a glitch happens again in 2027 and they manipulate the system. And why I deliberately talked about money? Because you see, we all saw how money failed in the last election. Why we are calling for transparency? Because we know one too many times, money also fails.
Very valid
It
points.
is the pain of the Nigerian people that aroused people to vote. They shared money too in the last election. Didn't they share money? But money failed. The people spoke. So for people that think money is everything, they should continue the delusion. We'll see them.
We just want
Except that
the
the
people
irony
to speak.
is that the city boys are the ones going to feed the village boys.
Well, we're going to...
That's the irony.
I think it's a debate that we're going to continue
You saw the representative
to have.
of the village boys.
We're going to continue to have that. So I think at the end of the day...
the city boys will feed them.
They will feed them. They will eat and go and have the strength to go and vote for who they want to vote for.
The village boys will also argue that they are self-sustaining hustlers. They're self-sustaining hustlers who are also figuring out how to make things come together. So I think it's not, I don't think they're charity cases. I think they are people who are doing what they can to make ends meet. But